a relatively good meeting because people got their points out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't really care about this litany of everything I'm doing in my department and all that, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we could all do that for forever. That gets a little old. If it's 3 minutes, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
3 minute up. Here's a couple things. I don't really have anything today. I don't have anything to vote on. I don't think we voted on anything yesterday. I don't have anything to vote on, but here's a couple updates and take 3 minutes. That's fine. But I mean, it was sort of an update. Yesterday was an update on things that might be relevant to the whole group, and so that was a good example of a smooth meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Again, conflict, it's just all about personalities. It's all about the way the personalities interface and how different personalities interface with one another. Mm-hmm. And some people are more high-strung, some people are more easygoing, some people,
mm-hmm.
And that's really, I mean, that's the dynamic you're dealing with. But, in the past, I mean, I think he's probably been coached or, people have talked to him about the way that works privately. I do not. I don't talk to Kent that way about,
mm-hmm.
hey, the way you did this, you probably need to do it this way. I think Chris can talk to him that way. But it used to be that, sort of he's allowed to blow a gasket, but if two others get into it,
mm-hmm.
then he's like, I will not stand for that.
Mm-hmm.
You two fix that. I will never have that again at the table. So it's like it's like, okay, double standard,
mm-hmm.
But he is the leader, so he's allowed to make that rule.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think that it's interesting because our prior president, who I came in under, but I wasn't on the leadership team at that time, he wasn't, it's interesting because when you're collaborative and you ask people to tell, if you say you're listening, which is what he talks about a lot, and you want to hear what people think, then you're opening up a can of worms. I mean, it's easier just to tell everybody what
mm-hmm.
to do, and then you don't have to get into it and be authoritative. Now, the prior president was I would say he's much more authoritarian
mm-hmm.
in style, and the whole college has always been that way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the faculty don't have relatively little power here. It's not like a normal,
mm-hmm.
like the faculty, they don't have, I mean, Kent has been more collaborative than anybody we've ever had. The faculty have more voice now than they've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't perceive, and they still don't have a lot. They just have more, relatively speaking, than they've ever had because of his,
mm-hmm.
he wanted them to have voice in things and have, shared governance, which everybody has a different definition of.
Yeah.
But, so relative to the team dynamics, I don't know why. I don't know how or why it has worked or it's stayed together this long. I could not tell you. And we have had, but the core we ended up with after the first round. So when he came in, he brought in two. Yeah, he brought in two when he first came in. 3 early. And he got rid of everyone who was already here on the leadership team. There were only like 3 when he came, and he got rid of all 3 of them within the first year. And he had brought in a couple, so he had a bigger team. He had brought in somebody, two that he had known. He brought in. He tends to bring in people he knows. He brought in 2, and then they had like 6, and then he got rid of the 3 that had been here.
Mm-hmm. And
then, interestingly, the 2 that he brought in early that he knew, one he had known from college and was an administrator at Valley Forge, one of our sister schools, and one that was from Washington State where he had been.
Mm-hmm.
He fired both of them after another couple years. They were both gone. And he had gradually added, Bill Hackett came on the team, and Roy, he brought in Roy too early. Roy was on. So we had this kind of nucleus that were together for about 5 years. So it was Kent, Bill Hackett, Roy Rowland, Chris Owen, and me, and then the other guy who had the 3 hats. So there were 6 of us, I guess. That's right. And so that was really became sort of comfortable in a way, because we were together. I think we were together for about 5 years.
Yeah.
And then he left. The EVP who had the 3 hats left, and he had a lot of power. And there was all kinds of problems with that. But so then, I don't know how, because we still have everybody that I just mentioned. We're all 6 of us are still there. So we've been together for now 7 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that surprises me. And to be perfectly frank, I hate to be so factual. I think one of the reasons is because we have gotten salary increases on a fairly regular basis. And in spite of what other people tell, I got the numbers. We're not bad. We're well paid for who we are and what we are. In Polk County, Florida, we're not in Oregon. We're not in Southern California, and so we're well paid. And I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
Just regular increases.
Yeah.
So, and going on retreats to Breckenridge, Colorado.
Yeah. What, I'm watching the time.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I didn't realize.
No, I mean, more so for you.
Well,
I
it's
don't have
okay.
anything
I'm
else.
fine. I don't have anything this afternoon.
I want to be mindful of
take
your
a few
time.
more
So,
minutes. That's fine.
Well, actually, I mean, maybe this ties into, but on a scale of 1 to 10, how effective would you rate the leadership team overall?
I'd say, because I'm speaking relatively, I would say 8. And that's only because I've been on a lot of other teams, and I've never reached my ideal.
Still looking for that.
I mean,
perfect.
Ideally, you would all work together, and there would never be any, you would all be like, yeah, let me help you do that. And I just haven't experienced that yet. I'm getting old, so, I think I'd say an 8, because I think I think yesterday's a good example. I mean, I think that, like I'm an older guy. Bill's older than I am, and I'm the next oldest on the team. And I think that the older you get, the more you learn, you have to learn to accept, the idiosyncrasies of personality. And you just sort of, at least that's what I've done. Because I used to get real riled up about everything when I was younger, and I just have learned to they have a history, and they have their responsibilities, and they're different, and that's why there's a conflict or tension, a normal tension. And then the more you go to the more I've been in higher ed, since I came here. And the more meetings you go to, the more conferences you go to. I go to 1 or 2 every year. I always go to the accreditation meetings every December, and then I usually go to 1 other at least per year. And the more you sit around and have coffee with people and talk to people, it's the same everywhere. There's always a tension between academics and admissions. There's always a tension between the business office and academics, and the president, is out there raising money and doesn't really know what's going on. He doesn't run the school and run the department, he's your big picture guy out there, and it's as far as I can tell, the common problems, and so you just accept it.
Yeah. What kind of interaction does the team have outside of regular meetings?
Well, we have, if an issue arises, then we have meetings privately with 2 of us, maybe, or 3 possibly. Typically now, the way it is now with Chris, I feel very, very comfortable going to him with issues or concerns that I have.